We're here at MMI to get the Season 5 giveaway bikes dynoed to get some base horsepower numbers and all that. Be sure to drop all the information down in the description below, as well as on the screen right here.
My name's Jimmy McMillan. I'm an instructor here for Harley-Davidson at Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. So we are sitting on about, we got one hit at 52.46.
Doing the Indian Scout up next.
I want to check that out.
Got the Iron 883 coming at 51.77 horsepower and 50.79 torque. You guys comment down below, let us know what you think the Indian Scout is going to make for horsepower and torque. Let's see if you guess right. Maybe whoever guesses the closest, we'll send some stickers to or something. You're going to make these numbers ridiculous though.
So if you own an 883, don't race a stock Indian Scout. So this kid kicks in really hard. Peak torque is landing right at 5,000. So that's another 500 RPM above where the Sportster would be. And then once we get this kid into that past the 5,000 spot, you can see that the horsepower just takes over and kicks us up to 73. That's probably a good 75-ish on a really cool day. It is rather warm down here and humid today. So about a 75 horsepower bike. I'll tell you what, man, 75 horsepower ain't no joke. This thing pulls. And if you had a tuner on there or something that can get it into that 7 or maybe 7,200 range, you'd be really close to 80 horsepower. I mean, you can just almost interpolate that thing will just keep on keeping on. Yep. And it pulls well all the way through. This this little roughness in this graph, you know, if I pulled a fuel line on it, we might be able to tell if that was fuel or not. I would really believe that this is just stock, some stock restriction there in the air filter or the pipe muffler or something. Nice. Yeah, but it is happy up here for sure. That bike right there, a boogie.
So what were the numbers? 75?
So 73.42,
73.42. I was the closest.
You said not to include yours. I guess we don't know if you were the closest or not because I didn't include it.
Suck that, Pedro.
No, I got it right here. That's how they get you.
And it sits on 60, pretty much to 6,500. 25 to 65. Guys, that is 4,000 RPM of a nice flat 60 foot-pounds that you feel. Meaning that anywhere you open the throttle, you can be here in one gear or over there in a gear, anywhere in here, when you open that throttle, the bike's gonna do the same thing. It's gonna be really predictable. So in a corner, you know, if you slow down a little too much in a corner and your RPMs are down here and you whack the throttle, you'll still get that same pull, even if you're all the way up here. Now, once you get into this spot, it's gonna take off. But that is a really nice broad power curve. That'd be a fun motorcycle to ride in the corners too.
One of the things I've always said about the Scouts is they feel very predictable.
Predictable. Yeah. That's what that is, that flat line right there. Yeah, and I didn't start sampling till around 2000, just with the nature of the bike. I knew that the bike would be a little more of a higher RPM player, but it was pretty happy right there. I opened the throttle at 2000 wide open in high gear, and it was happy. It seemed to be real happy through there.
The manufacturer says 100 horsepower, but over here the power, can you read that bottom part over there?
Yeah, sure. So
what does that do? That will explain
so we look at this and we say Scout 100 horsepower, 75 kilowatts, claimed 86.1 horsepower, or 64.2 kilowatts at the rear wheel. So normally what happens is when manufacturers claim horsepower, they're talking about their engine being on a dyno that is just the engine alone.
So
okay,
crank, yeah.
So yeah, not crankshaft, that's just crankshaft horsepower. So we lose, I know on a Harley, we lose about 15%. So whatever's advertised on the crank, cut away about 15%, and that's typically what you would see at the rear wheel. And that's kind of what this one is saying. It says 81 horsepower at the rear wheel. You know, we're seeing about 10 under that. That's about right. What kind of dyno did they run? What type of conditions were they in? I mean, if this is in Canada and they're testing it in Canada or Minnesota, where it's like, you know, 20 degrees outside and you're getting that really crispy cold air coming through, but no humidity, no water grains in the air. You're going to pick up probably, I don't know, maybe 4, 5, 10 more horsepower, probably like 5, 6. And then you switch dynos. So the dyno we're using today is a DynoJet 250i. Great dyno, excellent tuning device, excellent device for doing like diagnostic work and stuff if I have a problem. However, these cats right here have a very expensive engineering style dyno that takes into account a whole lot of other rad stuff, and theirs might be actually a little more accurate. Dyno to dyno, it's hard to like nitpick and split hairs over numbers, but that curve will be the same on anybody's dyno, and that's an impressive curve.
Nice.
So their sales pitch is the 100 horsepower, when in reality it's not 100 horsepower to the rear wheel.
Manufacturers like to brag about the crankshaft horsepower because it's a bigger number. If
Always.
everybody did rear wheel, then we would all stick to rear wheels. But you know, if you can say, well, technically we've got more because of the crank, then everybody has to jump on that crankshaft horsepower rating. Typically it's BHP. If you see BHP, that's brake horsepower.
Okay.
That's usually they're talking about engine dyno all by itself. Where if they say rear wheel horsepower, they're talking about a chassis dyno, and that's going to be rear wheel. Because you know, your transmission, your primary drive, belt drive, the mass of the wheel,
Everything absorbs and takes horsepower.
Yeah,
out.
I know. I did a bike, so I had one of my personal bikes. I had a 150 back tire on it, and it made 127 horsepower. I switched frames and went to a 250 back tire. Same sprocket, same chain, same engine, same everything. Just new frame and a big 250 back tire. I lost 17 horsepower.
Wow.
Yep.
Jeez.
Just because of the mass and motion.
Yeah.
All that energy, centrifugal force killed it.
Everybody's saying we should do like a club wannabe.
It's very clubby. I like the pinstripes.
We're basically doing drag style with the Iron, bobber with the Scout, and so we've been debating on what to do with this, but I think we might do club.
Moto bars, fairing, let's do it.
Yep. It's called the R-Spec. Comes with the reservoirs and mag wheels.
Show you the trick whenever we get the valve stem where the strap goes. We got a little trick on that. Hitch a brake.
Oh, nice.
And that just gives you that 6 inches or whatever.
Repositions the tire. Make it worse or make it better?
You got it.
All right.
Better.
It works.
That's smart.
Yeah, very smart. All right, guys, up next we got the Yamaha Bolt.
You know what
Okay,
this
out of my
red
way.
line's at?
Where? Sorry.
You know what this red line's at?
No. Why do I feel like I just got in trouble by like my teacher while pushing?
There's no horseplay in the dyno.
Yeah. Stop it, guys.
No horseplay in the dyno.
Yeah.
I tried to tell him.
I'm sorry, sir. Sorry,
Don't make me use it.
Mr. Mac. Oh, the red pen. I haven't heard that in years. Taking me back, PTSD.
So this is something I'm usually not used to saying. Where is the key?
Yeah, it took me a while. He had the same problem. We're like, where's the key in this thing?
Where is the key?
Yeah, so on this one, you've got the select and then the reset. I don't think it has RPM. All right, 55, 53 for Wes. I'm gonna say 60, 60. It'll probably be less than that though, as compared to the Indian.
Right around 50 maybe.
Yeah.
Ballpark.
Less than the Sportster, you think?
Yeah, it's super quiet.
Displacement's bigger though.
Is it a bigger motor?
Yeah, it's like a 940 something.
943, I think.
943 cc.
I high gear is 56.
That's not fair, you know.
I don't know, man. So we're sitting at 47 horsepower and 55 on torque.
Wow.
A lot lower than I thought.
That's crazy.
I figured it'd be below.
Despite larger displacement.
Yeah, being so quiet, you know, that's kind of the thing where
Torque.
lots of torque though, man. Instant torque, right? So as soon as I whack the throttle, so there's a little bit of dip right there. That's such a low RPM, that dip right there. It could be a couple different things. I have no clue if this has throttle cables, so I imagine that's us getting it. But could be a couple things. Could be over scavenging, could be a bigger cam, whatever. But somewhere in here, this is where it wants to be. And then at 3,500, we can see it kind of starts pulling it down, and it doesn't want to rev much more than 5,200. So this is just your exhaust that's doing this. Right about here, you can see the horsepower starts to take a turn, and that's 4,500. So that's probably because of that super quiet exhaust that's on there. You put a pipe on here, that's gonna change this, and this is gonna want to continue to come up. If not close to 60, somewhere in that ballpark. I mean, somewhere in there, it's gonna be in 55, 60 at the minimum with just a muffler and an air filter, I'm sure of it. It's so happy here, and then it looks like it's just running out of air. What about overall ride quality? At 2,500, it's rare to run much under 2,000, so you figure 2,500, this baby pulls to 4,500. Again, there's a 2,000 RPM power band sitting right at 55. The Indian, I think, was 60. The Sportster was sitting right around 50 something, 52, I think. On or right at 50. So let's pull them all up together and see what they look like.
What were your guesses on that?
I didn't have any.
No. See those eyebrows again? Yeah, I didn't expect. I mean, I thought it would be more than the Iron, but we can get it up there. I mean, it's a start.
This little hole right here, the only place air gets in on this, right there.
It's choking out, man. So it's a little confusing to look at, okay? But if you're not familiar with looking at dyno graphs, we're gonna pick one on the top, okay? So this one across here is torque for the Scout, and then the horsepower is the highest on the Scout, and that's that line that runs all the way down here. So it's very common for horsepower to be on the bottom, torque to be on the top until we pass 52 RPM. Once we get past 52 horsepower takes over torque. So there's a blue run, and that blue run is torque across the top, and then the peak out there is horsepower. And then the number 2 on this torque battle here is the Bolt. The torque line on the Bolt is really close to the Scout, and then right at about 4,500 you can see it just starts to dip off. That's that torque line right there. The horsepower line on the Bolt runs up pretty darn close to the Scout to begin with, and then when it runs out of air, it looks like it just noses over. So you can almost kind of see these kids are headed in the same direction, but the air just kills it right there. And then in red is the Harley, and the Harley comes up on the 883. It is 45 foot-pounds, and it literally is 15 foot-pounds down on power compared to the Scout, and it runs out. It starts where it starts to want to work. It just does cross over 50 foot-pounds. But the horsepower is still there. Now granted, this bike does have an air filter and an exhaust system on it. I would expect this motorcycle to kind of do the same thing that the Green Run does on the Bolt if this had a stock air filter and a stock pipe. But since it has a stage 1, what we call that a stage 1.
You see that boat getting choked.
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
just
torque drops off. It drops off.
boom, it's just done. Yeah, when torque drops off faster, you know, fast like that, it's really screaming that it needs more air.
Feed me. I like air and fuel.
Sorry, buddy.
Pretty cool setup. I'm gonna print some of these for you guys, and you can dig through them and take what you want, leave what you don't.
Let's just say, make this monster happy with good exhaust and air filter.
Oh yeah.
Yamaha is known to choke their bikes.
Oh really?
The Raw Star, their V4 bike, exhaust pipe was no bigger than my thumb.
Oh wow.
This one has a little bitty exhaust on it.
It's a big pipe externally, but when you look at it internally,
Yeah.
it's tiny.
Crazy restrictive.
It's almost false advertising. It's like,
Yeah.
look how big it, like how fat it is, and then you look it's like, oh.
The beauty about the size of the pipe, actually, it builds a lot of torque. So having all that volume gives the exhaust gases a place to go, which buys you time for the engine to turn around for the next cycle. You don't want it out and then you let atmosphere right back in again. The whole secret to natural aspiration is that we keep a low pressure in the head pipe, which is close to the top of the motor there. And as long as that exhaust has a real low pressure, it makes air pressure through the air filter want to get down to it. So when we put like really short drag pipes on there, we eliminate that low pressure that's the desire for air to actually enter the engine to begin with. But that big muffler allows you to maintain the low pressure area and maintain that driving force, what we call the impetus, right? The driving force for air to enter the engine. So it's really awesome to have a big exhaust system. It's just not very sightly. A lot of folks don't like that. So talking exhaust systems in the Harley world is a lot like talking about, you know, what truck's the best truck or what sidearm pistol is the best one to carry. Everybody has an opinion, and most people don't have experience other than one thing that they bought. So you have to kind of have every single truck to have a good opinion on trucks. Kind of like what you do.
That's what we're trying to do. Yeah, Anna.
What did I say? What did I say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What she said.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've been
There you go, guys. Final numbers. Iron at 51. We'll just round that up to 52. 50. Scout at 72.42, 60.11. Bolt at 47 and 55. All right, so one of the really cool ideas we had, guys, is we're going to take these dyno sheets, and you know, at the end of season 5 we give the bikes away, and we're going to include the original dyno sheets, and then we're going to come back and we're going to be working with MMI after we've got the bikes all modded out, and we're going to get them tuned up. So we're going to have a new dyno sheet to compare those two. So like I said, this is the very beginning of it. This is just the baseline. Big shout out to MMI for letting us use their dyno equipment room, their dyno talent. And obviously thank you to Captain Anna and West Face Nectar and Pedro, this Portuguese guy.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. Y'all be sure to go follow him, and big thanks as well to Holly. Thank you. There's the numbers. That's the episode. Interesting to see the actual numbers versus like whenever the manufacturers claim something. Like we have actual data here though. So
And just watching that tire spin at 120 miles an hour.
yeah.
Blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fast.
So you look at the speedo, it's like 120, but it's not moving anywhere. It's just setting right there.
Like, it's so fast and so loud.
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode though. Hope it was insightful for you. If it was, be sure to hit that like button. If you guys want to sign up to possibly win the bikes, check out Patreon at patreon.com/blockheadmoto. You guys be sure to drop your thoughts, comments, feedback, and all that stuff down in the comment section below. Let us know what you think. Until next time, ride safe out there, stay vigilant. Usually I have something to point to, but oh, let me see. Straight your left shoulder. Bam, there it is. Ride safe, stay vigilant. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.